All right, let's dive right into another deep dive. This time we're looking at the Medusa myth, but not the one you might remember from, school.
Right. It's a reimagining.
Exactly, and it's all based on this excerpt from a text called, get this, Medusa versus the Serpent, the untold battle of temptation and power.
Catchy, huh?
Yeah, it's a lot, but the ideas in it are really fascinating.
Absolutely. This isn't just a retelling. It really digs into the characters and what this myth could mean, for us.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Like, where does all this take place?
Well, it puts Medusa in this kind of twilight realm. It's like a bridge between ancient Greece and the Garden of Eden. Not quite either one, kind of like how she's, well, not quite alive, not quite dead.
Right. Oh, I see. That's a cool way to set the scene. So how is this Medusa different from the classic version?
She's not just this monstrous Gorgon. She's really consumed by sorrow, trying to understand why this happened to her, why she's cursed.
She wants to know why she's a monster.
Yeah, she wants to understand, not just be, labeled as one. And then, well, the Serpent of Eden shows up.
Wait, hold on. The serpent? Like, from the Bible, what's it doing here?
Right. It's a surprise.
All right.
But it's not just evil, like you might think. It's actually wise, even insightful, and it offers Medusa knowledge, a new way to think about her curse.
So it's not like tempting her or anything.
Not really. It sees itself as similar to her, in a way. They're both feared, judged, but they also, they hold knowledge that challenges things.
Okay, I'm starting to see where this is going. But what does the serpent actually say to Medusa?
It says this line, and it's key. Your power is not merely a weapon, but a shield.
Whoa. So it's saying her curse, turning people to stone, could be something good.
More like it's suggesting she rethink it. It might not just be punishment,
Okay, now I'm really interested. But Medusa's been betrayed before, by gods, by people. How does she react to this?
She's hesitant, of course, but she also really wants answers. So she starts to test her power, see how the whole turning to stone thing actually works.
And what does she find?
It's not just this, random chaotic force. She can actually control it, focus it, even use it like a tool.
So instead of being overwhelmed by it, she's starting to see it as, a strength.
Exactly. It changes how she sees herself.
Yeah.
She realizes she's not just a victim, she has choices, even with the snake hair and deadly stare.
This is where it gets really interesting, right? It's not just some myth. It's about taking back your power, even when, well, it seems like you have none.
Yeah, you got it. But it's not easy for her. The serpent, it kind of guides her through these memories, forcing her to see her old self, before all this.
That sounds rough, like reliving the trauma that led to her being cursed.
It is. But by facing her past, she starts to understand herself in a new way. She's not just the Gorgon, the monster. She's someone who's suffered, but still strong enough to seek answers, to shape her own fate.
Wow, what a transformation. It's like this myth is about growing and changing, even when things are really bad. So does she ever face Athena, the goddess who cursed her?
She does. And it's intense. We see Medusa not as some scared worshiper, but as a woman demanding answers, taking back control of her story.
That's a total role reversal. How does Athena react to this? Does she even feel bad for what she did?
Athena's perspective is actually more complicated than you might think. She admits her actions were harsh, but she says she did it because she believed in Medusa's potential.
So it's like a twisted kind of tough love. But does that even work? It seems like this myth is making us think about that, on a deeper level.
Exactly. It makes us question those motivations and what the consequences might be.
Yeah.
And it's reflected in the choice Medusa ultimately makes, a choice that goes beyond just, revenge or playing the victim.
Okay, now you really got me hooked. What is this choice she makes? How does it change things?
She doesn't choose revenge. She doesn't choose to just be a victim either.
So what does she do?
Medusa chooses her own path, one that she makes for herself, based on what she's learned, what she's gone through. It's really a powerful statement about, having control, even when it seems like you don't.
Right, like rising above all the expectations, all the labels.
Yeah, exactly. And the serpent, as she's leaving, it says something really interesting.
Okay, what's that?
It says, "You have embraced your darkness and found strength within it."
Wow, that's deep. It's saying those bad parts of us, the pain, the things we might want to hide, they can actually make us stronger.
Yeah, it's not about denying them, but accepting them and then finding a way to move forward.
That's something we can all relate to, right? I mean, we all have those dark parts.
Absolutely. And the serpent It's kind of like a catalyst for Medusa, a mirror even.
Yeah.
It helps her see her potential beyond just being a monster.
You know, it's funny, the serpent, the one who tempted Eve, it's always seen as bad. But here, it's almost like a positive force.
Right. It's like it's saying maybe knowledge, even if it's forbidden, can be good, can set you free.
It's that part of us that questions things, that rebels, that wants to know more, even when we're not supposed to.
Yeah. And in this story, that rebellious spirit helps Medusa grow, helps her discover who she really is.
It ties into this idea we see all the time, right? Those who challenge the way things are, they're often seen as the bad guys.
Exactly. But maybe they're just showing us a different way of seeing things, forcing us to confront some hard truths.
Okay, so this reimagining, it's not just retelling a myth, it's making us question the stories we've been told, the ways we might be limiting ourselves, even hurting others without realizing it.
Yeah, that's it. And it does this by putting Medusa and the serpent together. They're both outcasts, feared, and ultimately, I think, misunderstood.
They both challenge the whole idea of good versus evil, right? Like, it's not that simple.
Nope. And they help each other see that. They realize they have the power to choose who they are, regardless of what others say.
That's such a powerful message, especially for anyone who's ever felt like they don't belong, like they're not good enough. This story says you have the power to define yourself.
You got it. It's about finding that strength inside you, not looking for approval from the people who might have hurt you in the first place.
Right. So going back to Medusa's confrontation with Athena, the goddess who cursed her, how does that play into all this?
It's really important because it shows how the power dynamic has shifted. Medusa doesn't beg forgiveness. She doesn't seek revenge.
What does she do then?
She demands answers. She's taking control of her own story, making her own choices based on who she now understands herself to be. It's defiant, powerful.
She's like, I'm not letting you define me anymore. So how does Athena, the goddess, react to that?
It's interesting. You see this moment of almost vulnerability in Athena, a hint of regret.
Wow, so even a goddess can have second thoughts, huh?
It seems so. It's like the story is saying even gods aren't perfect. They make mistakes, they feel regret, and maybe, just maybe, they can learn from those they try to control.
It makes them more human, more relatable, and that makes the story's message even stronger.
Right. Because we all make mistakes, we all have things we wish we could change. But the important part is what we do after, how we learn and grow.
It's like Medusa's journey. She takes all that pain, all that trauma, and uses it to create something new for herself, to grow, to change.
Yeah, and that's something we can all learn from. Your past doesn't have to define your future. You have the power to choose who you become.
It's like this constant theme of transformation throughout the whole story. Like even in the darkest times, we can change, we can grow. And sometimes the best way to do that is not by seeking revenge or wallowing in, feeling like a victim.
Exactly. It's about taking control, reclaiming your story, defining yourself on your own terms.
And that really gets to the core of this reimagined myth, right? It's about resilience, self-discovery, and the potential we all have to change, to face our demons and become stronger because of them.
Yeah. It's about facing those dark parts of ourselves and realizing that's where our true strength might lie.
This whole deep dive has been so fascinating. It's like I have a totally different view of the Medusa myth now. And it makes you think, how does this connect to us, in the real world? What can we learn from all this?
That's the big question, right? And myths, I think, they give us a way to look at our own lives, our own struggles, and ask those big questions about who we are and why we're here.
Okay, so let's get into that. What are some of the key takeaways from this retelling? What can we learn from Medusa and apply to our own lives?
Well, the first thing that comes to mind is it challenges us to question the stories we've been told about ourselves and the world. The stories about who we are, what we can do, what's good, what's bad, all of that.
You mean the stories we get from our families, our culture, society? The ones that can sometimes hold us back or make us doubt ourselves?
Exactly. This reimagining is saying, look deeper. Are those stories really true? Are there other ways to see things?
And that's where the serpent comes in, right? It's all about questioning, challenging the way things are supposed to be.
Yeah, like a wake-up call saying, don't just accept things blindly. Think for yourself. And being open to those new ideas, even if they seem scary at first, that can lead to amazing things, just like it did for Medusa.
She embraced the serpent's guidance, questioned everything she thought she knew, and in doing so, discovered her own power.
Right. She stopped being a victim and started taking control.
And that's a powerful lesson for all of us. We can all do that. We can choose who we want to be, even if we've been hurt, even if we feel lost.
And that choice often means facing the parts of ourselves we don't like, the things we want to hide.
It's about accepting our flaws, our mistakes, those shadows we all have, and then finding a way to become whole.
Yeah, and that takes courage to sit with those uncomfortable feelings, those imperfections. But that's often where we find our true strength, our ability to be resilient, to forgive, to be kind to ourselves.
It's like the story is saying, don't be afraid of the darkness. Embrace it. Learn from it. It's part of who you are, and it can make you stronger.
You got it. And that can be so freeing, especially for people who feel like they have to be perfect all the time. This story says, you don't. You can be messy, you can make mistakes, and you're still worthy, you're still powerful.
So, if we had to sum up the message of this reimagined myth, what would it be?
I'd say it's a call to action. To take control of your story, embrace all parts of yourself, the good and the bad, and realize that even your darkest moments can be turned into opportunities for growth and self-discovery. It's about defining yourself, not letting the world define you.
It's a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to be amazing, even when we don't feel like it, just like Medusa.
Exactly. And it makes you realize that even those who have been labeled as monsters, like Medusa and the Serpent, can teach us valuable lessons about resilience, self-discovery, and finding our own way.
This deep dive has been incredible. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of the Medusa myth and what it means for us today. But wait, there's more. We'll be back soon to explore even deeper layers of this reimagined myth and uncover even more fascinating insights. Until then, stay curious and keep those minds open to new possibilities. You never know what you might discover.